Sonny, what are you doing?
What's up, sucker?
Leaving your business in our parking lot? Oh my God, this dog, I tell you. Come on, Bo.
You want to step out?
Come on.
Here you go.
Come on, get him.
Come on, come on. Come on.
Get up there.
Come on. Come on.
All right, see, now it's like Mexican.
Hey, there's free Milwaukee tools and candy. Come on.
Go. Come on.
Come on.
Let's
He
go
heard
for a
it.
treat. You want a treat?
Treat.
Oh,
He hears it. He's a coming. Come on. There's a
what do I got?
Milwaukee treat.
Oh, we got no problem now.
Dialed in.
He said, gimme. Bacon. Got the non-sriracha flavored bacon.
Yeah, sit. He's like, I'm already sitting back there. Easy. Good boy.
Hey, that's a good man.
He was ready for that.
Good boy.
What's the happening, Captain?
Dude, $10,000 ordered on Monday, so new stuff coming. Milwaukee stuff.
Any gear wrenches yet? My long 12?
Maybe. Oh, well, let's just go ahead and take a look around while he's checking for the long 12 millimeter.
Should be 12.
Hey, there's some you don't get a chance to hang up on the shop wall every day.
Yes.
Easy, fellas, easy. We're looking for tools.
Justin, Jeff has exactly what you need right here.
Oh, what's that?
Is 5-in-1 car protector?
No, the exhaust pliers.
Made by Liesel. Yeah, but yours had the comfort grip. I was kind of digging the comfort grip. Oh, there's a nice little bit kit made by Irwin. Some mids, some longs. All right, well, we're gonna wrap it up here on the truck, but before we go, did have a tool that I needed to get because I was pulling a transmission out to do a clutch job. Picking up this 33-inch GearWrench, part number 84438N. It's just a 3/8 drive locking extension that happens to be 33 inches long. The other one that me and Jeff were just talking about is a 1/2 inch to 3/8 step down.
Correct.
With a universal joint, 36 inches in length. That's another one that I'm planning on getting. Just doesn't have one here on the truck today. Before we go, there was discussion from last week's live stream on Friday about what a good mid-range tool company would be. A lot of us agreed that GearWrench we would consider a mid-range tool. I would suppose Ingersoll ran for like the air tool lineup, but GearWrench more so because there's more variation of their products, so it's not just basic mechanic sets, but they have specialty tools, pullers, things like that. I wanted your opinion on who else do you believe should fall into that category specifically for mid-range?
So I think that it would be a separation of the big four: MAXX, Snap-on, and Cornwell. If you take their Asian-made brands, I think that the GearWrench product is better than a lot of the brands that are made. The Silver Eagle ADV from MAXX. MAXX has their Expert series, Cornwell has Blue Power, and then Snap-on having Blue Point. Snap-on definitely does it the best. I think that they have branding, and some of their Blue Point stuff I still believe is made in the USA. There was a discussion with my Cornwell DMs. They would get on and say, hey, you like GearWrench so much, you like Monster so much, why don't you go be one of their dealers? And I would say, well, you want me to push your Asian-made brand, not your American-made brand. You know, if you want to go apples to apples, you have to go the American-made stuff, which by far is the best, so that would be your top tier. And then I think everything else falls below that. Yeah, the GearWrench stuff falls into that category too. I don't have a huge amount of warranty. It's been 6 months since we sent in any real major GearWrench stuff, and then Noah and I got together, and between our two trucks we had about $2,500 that we needed to send in. that's pretty good. I mean, I'm real happy with that, looking over the time that I was with Cornwell and then talking to a couple of MAXX dealers. The Silver Eagle ADV, the MAXX guy, I've talked to one, and he was not real fond of the expert stuff. He was really about pushing the American made. So I think if you guys are looking top tier, I would stick with the American made stuff, but you're paying double, sometimes 2.5 times the percentage. Otherwise, this is one reason I think that I'm able to flourish, is because the GearWrench stuff is good. GearWrench is owned by Apex. Apex will go out and buy smaller companies, and they will keep the quality there. They bought KD Tools. I think we might have discussed it before. I could never get an exact answer, but I believe they bought Armstrong, which was a US foundry, and Armstrong, I think, was making those MAXX pinless originally. That's the way that it's kind of been explained. I couldn't get any actual answers. Everybody was a little secretive about it. But, so somebody says, I want to buy the best tools that are out, then I would say you got to buy the American made out of the big four. Each of them will have stuff that is better than the other.
For a mid-range product outside of GearWrench, tools that you have usually lined up here of all the different brands here, Irwin, Sunex, GP, which we've seen their socket sets on here before.
Yes.
Any particular, would you consider these mid-range products? Is that why I see them on your truck versus some of the less expensive stuff that's known about, like TEKTON tools or Olsa or Capri, which we haven't seen on your truck yet? A couple of those companies just coming into their own. But is that why, like, we would see these particular items instead of those three name brands? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, I'm just not real familiar with those brands, and it's stuff that I wanted to put stuff that I used as a mechanic. The whole time I was a mechanic, I wanted to put stuff like that I used on the truck, that I knew what the quality of it would be. You know, if it's on the truck, 90% of it, body shop stuff, no, but 90% of it, I would say that I used at a certain point in my career, and I was happy with the quality of it versus the price points. I have some American-made swivel sockets by Cornwell that are at home. I think that they're super kick-ass, but they're $650 for the set of them. For a lot of guys, that's just not a price point that's not something that they can do. There's so much more that they can buy, still having good quality, and then you come back around to the service of your tool dealer. If that guy's there and you're buying something that's a mid-range to upper mid-range, but he's there all the time, you're going to get taken care of. So I think that that's what a lot of the guys have to look at, is it everyday use? They're beating on it. There's certain things, by all means you should buy American made things that are, I don't know, even say a perfect example, but there's some stuff for sure you should buy like that. But then there's other stuff that's everyday that is just fine when it's Asian made.
For the new guy, for the fresh mechanic just entering the industry, recommend going hard and go home kind of speak, as far as like buying the most expensive right out the get-go, maybe getting a cheaper toolbox, mixing it up a little bit, getting the expensive box first and getting it out of the way, or just trying to save as much as you possibly can, and then as you start making more and you're in this career, then start moving your way from maybe the cheaper big box store tools to the mid-range products to the expensive USA made stuff that we talked about.
I would fall back on the way that I did it, and that was, I went out, I bought, at the time it was a good mid-range, but on sale, bought myself a Craftsman 41-inch top and bottom box. I think I was into it about $1,200 at the time. And then I started going to my Cornwell guy, because the Snap-on guy was a douchebag. So he wanted a top dollar for everything and wasn't willing to work. And my Cornwell guy had an OTC meter that I still own to this day, and I bought. He had some VIM sockets, and he was there every week. So I started buying those, which I would say, yeah, we're mid to upper mid-range in the tools. I filled my box up, and then I went out and bought a good used Snap-on box that I liked the styling on it, not because of the name, but I liked that particular box, the drawer configuration. So if I was telling guys, like, what do you want to do? I just talked to a guy over at Ace Alternator. He's brand new, and he was like, I don't know exactly what to do. And I was like, well, you need hand tools. So I talked to him about that GearWrench 80966. And I told him,
the 243 piece set?
Yeah, I said, price point wise, you can't beat that. For what's included in that kit, you can't buy those sockets. Even if you go out and buy a really, you go buy Harbor Freight brand and get that under that price point. But for a good mid-range to upper mid-range, no, you can't beat it. You got 10 socket sets, the Allen sets in it, you've got 2 wrench sets in it, you've got some extensions and swivels. So I think that that's what guys should do. Is if they can find a kit like that, buy that basic kit, get yourself a hammer, and then start going into your air tools and things like that.
All right, Jeff. Well, as always, thanks for having us on the truck
Yes,
and
for
answering
sure.
the question about mid-range tools versus high-end. What your thoughts and opinions on it, guys? We'll see you guys back at the house for beer and bullshit. Jeff, want to say hello or deuces?
See you.
See you guys back at the house. What's going on, everyone? Justin again. As always, thanks for watching my channel. Welcome back to the Garage. Getting ready to step right into hump day. So we're about midweek, right? And the most exciting part about midweek is that we're just that much closer to the weekend. I thought today was a great discussion topic. I was really happy to get Jeff's opinion on what he considers a mid-grade tool. I was actually pretty happy and also surprised that Jeff did make mention of tools like Blue Point that you can also find on a Snap-on tool truck that tend to be a fraction of the cost cheaper than buying the actual Snap-on product. Same thing with Expert, same thing with Blue Power, same thing with the Silver Eagle lineup from MAXX. So I would also put those in the mid-range tool for sure. Didn't think about that on Friday night, so I was actually really happy that he did bring that up. As far as myself, I would consider mid-grade tools to be in the GearWrench. I'd have to argue with whether or not Capri could be considered mid-range since they haven't been out for a long time yet. And I don't know what they overall offer outside of ratchets and sockets and wrenches, which a lot of you have done reviews on yourself. But outside of that, I'm not really sure what else in addition to that they actually make. So maybe I should do a little bit more research into Capri just to see how far their brand stretches. Like GearWrench stretches out pretty far, right? You got your basic mechanic tool stuff, you have your intermediate stuff, you've got like locking and comfort grip ratchets. You also then get the organizers. They've got toolboxes, they've got service carts, they've got specialty tools and pullers and plier sets and screwdrivers. So they have a broad range. I'd be curious to see what broad range that Capri goes into, that TEKTON goes into. As far as I'm told, TEKTON has a toolbox. They have the basic hand tools. Do they have comfort grip? I don't know that I've actually seen anyone show a comfort grip TEKTON ratchet. I'd be curious about that. But I also know that they sell wrenches and things like that. Specialty tools, I don't think that they actually sell specialty tools, so I'm not sure if I can completely classify them in the mid-range. Maybe, that's a stretch. Icon, same thing as like I would say like Capri and maybe even TEKTON. They do have the sockets, the wrenches, the ratchet wrenches, and the toolboxes, yes. As far as their specialty tools, they lean more on MAXX and Pittsburgh items, which not all those items are great and not all those items were well made, okay? Some of them pretty duty for the most part, and you get them for a fraction of the cost. But again, I don't know that I can completely consider Icon a mid-range tool. Now, what I can say, if we're talking about Capri, TEKTON, and Icon, I would consider the quality overall to be in the mid-range. But as far as what all they offer, I'm not sure yet. I want your guys' feedback. If you believe they're mid-range, put it down below. There's also other tools that we made mention of that are also kind of like TEKTON and Capri and GearWrench. You got Ulsa tools. There's also GP, right? Everyone likes them. Then you've got some Sunex products that are great. I would have to put the Knipex brand in the highest level, right? For pliers, I want to put them top tier. I'd like to put them right there with like the names like Snap-on and Mac and Matco, etc. I'd put them top tier for sure as far as pliers. As far as pry bars, I gotta put Mayhew here, okay? So if we're looking at individual manufacturers that have done really well with products, I would put Mayhew towards the top, especially since a lot of the pro pry bars are rebranded Mayhew just with a different handle or different color and contrast, right? All right, so overall, if I had to pick one solid mid-range, I think you guys very well know what I'm going to pick here. I'm going to go GearWrench for the mid-range as far as a universal tool that you can really build a solid apprenticeship set without breaking the entire bank. Now, if I was to go back and do this all over again, but being of the present, not being 10 years back, okay? Because to say what I would do 10 years ago would not be the same as I would do today if I was starting fresh, because they didn't have these tools 10 years ago, or the grade of these tools was poor at best. So I would say if I was to do it all over again now, thinking of right now and the companies the way they are, I would have most definitely built myself a solid GearWrench apprenticeship set, picked out all the stuff that I could possibly pick out to build my set off of that. And then for other things that I wanted the highest grade quality of, but without spending those tool truck prices, I would go with like the Mayhew pry bars. I would go again with the SunX Crow feet. I would go with maybe the TEKTON open end angled wrenches. I would go with the Icon ratchet wrenches. You see, I would pick various tool companies for various tools to incorporate them into this apprenticeship set that I'm trying to build myself. As far as toolboxes go, lots of toolboxes out there. But you even heard what Jeff had to say. He started off with a Craftsman, and then when he could afford to, he bought a used Snap-on because he liked the layout of it. Not because he thought it was going to be the bee's knees or whatever. Just to, look, they're a well-known company. He liked the layout, the color, everything else. He went with it. That was his box. That was one of the last boxes that he had before he got into the tool business for distributing tools. I'm not sure if he still has that box. He may very well have sold that and have bought something different that obviously he took up less space for him so he can have more tools brought into his garage. You know, I'm sure like any mechanic, once you retire from it and you end up going in and doing something different, or maybe in the same industry but just not really wrenching all the time, I'm sure he still wrenches, and I'm sure that he's got his own designated toolbox in his garage that holds what he wants to hold so he can fix his own cars when he needs to. What are your thoughts and opinions about mid-grade tools? Which companies would you put in the mid-range, the high range, and the low range? We'd love to hear from you. Let us know down in the comments. And for all of you that are actually trying to save a few bucks, going to build your own apprenticeship set, maybe you're just starting off, I will throw some Amazon affiliate links down below in the description for you that I think will be very beneficial to you. And you might even save a few bucks because some of them have some coupons or some discount codes attached to them. Thanks as always for watching my channel. We'll see you guys next time. Cheers and deuces.